story, I am so fortunate to be aware of many, 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 many wonderful stories of transformation that the MBA offers. And certainly there are thousands of choices when it comes to an MBA, but we at Kelly are very proud of the transformative experience that the Kelly MBA is. And so we are always seeking to bring in the best and the brightest from around the world, because the more diverse student body that we have at Kelly, the better we are. And I am so excited to be a small part of it. I served the full-time MBA program for 13 years, and then I was headhunted to join the Institute for International Business by my boss, our executive director, Levon Schlegel, because Levon told me, join our team, Tim, and come and change the world. And I was all in because the MBA certainly transforms lives and changes the world for the better for those who apply those skills and bring people along with them. And then the IIB, we are a higher education capacity building unit within an elite business school. And we work in emerging and developing economies to do exactly that, change the world for the better and empower people with knowledge and with education. And so back to Anna's story, I would just add that Anna took all those moments in her life before the MBA and took a risk to go forward, right? And then her risk was rewarded exponentially greater than she would have guessed. And I hear this incessantly. And it's such a treat to hear from individuals who say, okay, I make the determination, I'm going to go for an MBA. They start to look at the choices out there and they realize where the good fit may be for them. And Kelly has been an excellent fit for thousands of people. We have the world's largest living business alumni network. And business is global, and Kelly is global, and IU is absolutely global. And as we move forward into this new reality and we reimagine work and reimagine some of the educational pursuits, opportunities, degree paths, et cetera, I think we'll come out of this global pandemic even better because we're navigating our ways through it now because of our network and our connection, and because we all want to have impact as well, right?
Yeah, Tim, that makes a lot of sense, and I agree. I think at the end of this whole pandemic, we are going to come out better and stronger and more connected globally because IU is so global and we're international minded. We've been able to really work on those connections during this time, which I know I've really enjoyed, and I think you have too. You know, Tim, I had never thought about the fact, and this is what's really cool about these Mexico meetups is, like I said, we're always so busy doing our work, right, and getting down to the point, but I never thought about the perspective of all of the Ana Lilias that you get to see and network with around the world. And that's got to be pretty amazing, because I'm sure there's just story after story out there. But back to your story, Ana Lilia, I have a couple questions for you. I'd really like to know, so I know we still need to get more women into everything. Personally, I think that. But we need more women in the MBA program. We need more women in the master's program. So kind of what that was like for you. And then in addition to that, like what advice, I mean, I know that there's a lot of people out there that are like, should I, shouldn't I don't know. Do I apply now? Do I apply then? And there's a lot of obstacles or perceived obstacles and challenges. And I'd just love to know, like, what advice do you have for them, or like what advice would have been good for your younger self when you were thinking about those things?
Yeah, you know, it's always a hard choice, especially for women. I think we're always worried about work-life balance, and you know, we want to raise a family, but at the same time, we have personal goals, other personal goals, and professional goals. So I think that tends to be always in our minds. But I would say, you know, if you want something, you just go for it. You know, I know it's always a challenge, and sometimes you'll probably think, well, what if I do this now and I end up doing something else later? who cares? I would have never imagined that I would be doing what I'm doing now. I was always dreaming about the corporate world and just climbing that corporate ladder. And I wanted to become, CEO of a company. At that time, that was my goal, Eventually something happened in my life that I was like, nah, that's not what I want. It's something different. But at the end of the day, I don't regret, the decisions that I took at that point. I don't regret anything of what I've lived. And, a lot of people also think, well, it's a huge investment. Yeah, everything in this life is a huge investment. You have to buy a house, and that's a huge investment. Even buying your first car is a huge investment. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you'll realize that the return on investment of an MBA is actually pretty good. I know a lot of wonderful women that have amazing careers. Not all of them, in the corporate world. Many have decided to take, or either the social world, the education world. Some others have become great entrepreneurs. So again, I mean, the MBA just gives you the tools to succeed, and you can do whatever you want. To be honest, Molly, and when I talk about this transformational personal experience, I was very shy, and a huge introvert. Yeah, and nobody, like, every time I say, I'm an introvert, everybody's like, no, there's no way you're an introvert. Well, I am, but I was extremely shy at the beginning. And I remember taking the MBA experience as an opportunity for me to actually shine in any possible way. And that's why I love Bloomington, because it's such a small program that it gives you the opportunity to shine. And that's why this professor knew who I was, because at the end of the day, that's what happens in Kelly. It's such a close-knit community that everybody knows who everybody is. It's just like being part of a big family. So I use that experience as a way to take leadership roles. So I was vice president of the International Student Society, or whatever it was called, I can't remember, or international business. I was an admissions counselor. I was involved in the Latin MBA, which was another association. So I was always trying to do things that I've never done in the past, just to push myself and take myself out of my comfort zone. And I'm going to share something that I don't like sharing a lot, but I think it's important. That first semester, I was in probation. And when I came back from my Christmas break, I found a letter in my mailbox saying, you need to come see me. And I was like, oh my God, and I was a really good student in my undergrad. So I was so scared. And the reason why that happened is because I was so excited, trying to take advantage of every single opportunity that, the academic part, to be honest, because I think that was part of the experience and that made me grow a lot. But what I'm saying is it was like a wake-up call. And it was like, yeah, you got to find your balance, and you got to push hard, and you got to push yourself hard in many ways. So again, it's a hard decision. I think for women, sometimes I guess is one of those things that sometimes we just tend to postpone. But I think I would encourage them to say, it's part of your life. It's part of your personal journey. Don't see an MBA or even a master's degree as, it's only if I want to do so and so. It's part of the recipe. I think it's just part of a personal journey, regardless of the professional career path you want to follow. And it's just an amazing experience. I know a lot of people that actually decided to take that opportunity with their boyfriend or their spouse, or even decided to go by themselves, and then the spouse would come later. So I think it's also a great experience when you decide to do it as a couple. So we'll always find excuses to not doing something, and the obstacles will always be there, to be honest. I mean, don't let the money be an obstacle, because nowadays there's so many ways to finance your master's degree or MBA, you know, and in Mexico we have, you know, great opportunities. We have FUNED, we have Banco de Mexico, FIDER, there are so many opportunities. So don't let the money be an excuse for not doing something. It's just part of what will, it will become part of you, you know, it will become part of your story. So I would say, again, you'll find obstacles all the time. Don't let those obstacles stop you from doing what you want.
That is awesome advice. I mean, really, it sounds like, to sum it up, it's a little bit of, you know, find out what your passion is and what you love doing, and using the MBA or master's as a tool to really get there. And I really resonate. I've done so much nonprofit work, mostly in education in my career, and been fortunate enough to work with MBA groups similar to Globase and the programs that you helped start, Ana Lilia. And like every nonprofit needs someone with an MBA. Every business needs someone with an MBA. So it doesn't just mean, if you want to go into the corporate world, fantastic, that's awesome, follow your dream. But there's a whole nother world out there where the MBA can be so valuable. And so it's really neat to hear that. And well, two other things. I semi-share the introvert thing with you, which you probably wouldn't believe either. People definitely put me on the high extrovert, but that's not true. I'm sure we've all taken the Myers-Briggs. It'll be funny to share that with each other later. But I fall somewhere in between, like right on the line there. So that's just really cool that you were able to push yourself and get out of your comfort zone that way. And then something else that resonated with me with what you said about your first semester in the probation, with a piece of advice that my dad gave me that I really valued then in college and still value now and like to share with other people. And that is, he always told me, and he's a very serious guy. Well, he would appear very serious to you. But he's also, you know, a lot of fun. He's super bright, very academic, civil engineer from Notre Dame, like really takes everything academic seriously. And he told all of us, college is 50% social and 50% academic. And we were like, what? Who knew, like coming from my dad. And so it was really kind of pushed me to do some of those same things, I think, and get out there and like join this club and see what happens. Because if it doesn't work for you, you can like go down the other road. But to really try those things and give it a shot and take a risk from that path that we all grow up thinking, like many of us grow up thinking there's a linear path. And it's not a linear path to, there's many ways to get to one place. There's many roads to get to one place, or sometimes you jump on a boat too, right? So yeah, that's really meaningful and really good advice. And that with the financing too. And when we do a follow up to our listeners, I think we can also put in those resources that we know of for folks to get that possible financing. And Tim, I'm sure you probably have a little more inside scoop on Kelly and what Kelly is able to offer the international students.
Absolutely. And Anna, thanks for, again, giving your great advice from your story for young women who are considering an MBA, and we hope certainly an MBA at Kelly. I would add to what you shared, Molly. It's an environment in which you are encouraged and held accountable to take risks. And you take risks in this safe environment where you're supported by incredible faculty and colleagues who come from unbelievable jobs and parts of the world to encourage you and walk alongside you. You're learning as much from your peers as you are from the faculty and the staff. Kelly is so serious about helping someone to be successful while they're with us and for the rest of their lives that they bring students in 3 weeks before classes even begin for a boot camp called Me Incorporated. It's all about personal branding and building your strengths, not discounting what you've done, but leveraging your past and getting you excited to apply it in a safe environment where you're going to fail and fail often, but we learn so much more from our failures than we do when it's easy, right? So back to the great advice that Anna gave about just go for it. There's so many excellent resources out there today to understand what the MBA is, and then again, what the Kelly MBA is and what it gives. But when I was in admissions for many years, I always encouraged prospective students to talk to current Kelly students and Kelly graduates. You can talk to MBA grads and ask them about their experience and what the MBA did for them. But if you start to talk to Kelly graduates, you very quickly learn that there's something very special about going through the program and then being empowered to turn these, what we call at Kelly, moments into momentum. And whether that's in the corporate sector, in academia, nonprofit, entrepreneurship, innovation, great. You are empowered with a skill set that is proven. The return on the investment for your skill set is one of the best out there when it comes to ROI on a graduate degree experience. But the other thing I wanted to mention briefly is the importance of your network. I noticed that graduates were getting great support. Current students at Kelly were getting great support from the Graduate Career Services team to prepare them well for their summer internship between the first and second year, and then gaining that job right out of school. But it was their second, third, fourth, fifth job out of school. It came directly from their Kelly network. And they were then prepared to make that next step. And that's the value of, business is all about relationships. Well, your network is even more so about relationships and building and sustaining those and creating new ones.
That makes a lot of sense, Tim. And I really like what you said about the safe environment, and it really resonates with how Anna Lilia talked about it. And you're not, let's see if I can get it right. You're not a small fish in a big pond. It sounds like you're a big fish in a small pond and really taken care of and guided. And I also really I like what you said about fail often, fail quick, learn, live and learn, get back up and do it again. And look at Anna Lilia now. I love it. That's great. And Lilia, anything else you want to offer or share?
Yeah, just listening to what Tim was saying made me think of another huge part of the MBA experience. Because you were talking about networking, and I guess for Latin American students, we don't really know how to network, the American way. It's very different, And so we think we know how to connect, and we do, but it's just a different way. There's a different way to do it in the U.S. So at the beginning, I remember, thinking, what am I doing? And I've heard that so many times from Latin American students that it's like, I don't know how to do this, it feels like so stiff, like this is not me, and I don't understand why I need to write a thank you letter, 24 hours after meeting someone. and at the end, I guess we all learned that's just the way it is, and if you're in a different country, you just have to learn how to behave, in that way. So that was a great learning. And I think I see that with a bunch of students, from my time at Kelly as an admissions person. I've seen that 1,000 times. And at the end, you realize that it's actually fairly easy, it's actually fairly easy to adjust the way you behave to the way, Americans in that case behave. So, and they just thrive, and Latin American students tend to find a job fairly easy. A lot of them, the ones that I know, decided to stay in the US. A lot of them decided to come back to their countries. But again, I think because you meet people from around the world, you just start feeling so much comfortable just dealing with cultural differences. For example, my roommate was from India, and that was the first person that I met during my first days at the MBA. And and I always say I lived an Indian life for like a year. It was very Indian. I was, hanging out with Indian students all the time, and you just hanging out with them. And I made great friends, and I keep in touch with them. I actually had the opportunity to go to her wedding, which was probably one of the most amazing experiences I've ever been through. Just experiencing an Indian wedding, it was amazing. One of my very good friends, also from Puerto Rico, we're actually now partnering in a new venture together. She's in the corporate world. Again, I'm in a totally different thing, but it's because we stayed in touch that now we're working together and we have reconnected. And that's the power of this networking that Tim was talking about, and just feeling comfortable. I mean, there are no cultural differences anymore, I guess. You just learn to feel comfortable with that. So it's fairly easy to adjust to that. Now that I've been back in Mexico for a few years, working in another university, I actually noticed that. I notice how easy it is for me to adapt to certain things, and it doesn't come natural to other people that don't have that global experience. So again, that's the power of an MBA. Once again, that's the power of an MBA. So just wanted to add that, Molly, because I think that's another very important thing, just that global perspective, which is huge. And you were talking about, even Globase, when you take students to work to developing countries, and they just face realities that, again, maybe they know that those realities exist, but they haven't experienced them. So that just changes who you are, changes the way you see things, the way you think. So it's huge.
It sounds like yes, I agree. It's huge, and it's like this huge skill set that you can't learn from a book, right? You only can learn that from an experience, through experience. And so the fact that the Kelley MBA program provides those experiences and those opportunities, and the formal ones like Globase, where you actually are a student team working with clients in another country, to the informal ones like you talked about, where your roommate and making, having friends and friendships where you're traveling, so it's sometimes traveling to another country for work and learning how to adapt, but then there's the social part of it as well. And it kind of goes back to that, finding that balance of how do I interact and get along in the social side of it, and the language barriers and the cultural barriers, and how do you say hello in this country? Is it the one kiss, the two kiss, what is it? And then being able to navigate and understand that, to be able to go into the meeting, right? Because meetings don't start the same in different countries either. And that's not something that you necessarily, again, learn from the textbook. You learn it through these experiences. That's awesome. And I guess with that, Tim, we know that you have an event to tell us about that incorporates a lot of what we've talked about and a lot of our other fellow alums from around the world. So we'd love to hear more about that.
Thanks, Molly, so much. Yes, we are very excited. So while 2020 has certainly proved to be a time of disruption and uncertainty for all of us, it's also served to remind us that there needs to be a sense of resiliency and adaptability in our everyday business. And as importantly, we need not to withdraw from the world, but find ways to strengthen our relationships in ways that only make us stronger and more flexible. So after much thought and discussion on how Kelley might engage the global community during this difficult time, I'm so excited to share news with you about this very important upcoming event. On Wednesday, October 21st, the Institute for International Business and the Kelley School of Business will host a series of 4 virtual worldwide roundtables to explore the topic, the importance of global connectedness during disruption and beyond. So we hope that all of you will join business leaders around the world as we celebrate IIB's 10th anniversary, and also explore new ways to connect and learn from one another. So the 4 regional events are presented in partnership with the Kelley School of Business Alumni Association, the Indiana University Alumni Association, the Office of the Vice President of International Affairs, and of course, the IU Global Gateway Network. These events will kick off with a panel discussion featuring senior business leaders from the region and addressing the challenges global businesses currently face. Small group discussions will be held after the panel to identify and share ideas on how to stay connected and engaged professionally and personally as we face uncertainty and disruption. We're so fortunate that the Kelley School has long been a leader in international business education, and we are thrilled to be able to host these important conversations. Now, of course, in Mexico City, we're so fortunate to have the IU Mexico Gateway, and we have some fantastic alumni and friend who will be joining us to serve on the panel. We will make sure that everyone in your audience has the link and the registration information. It's a free virtual event. It will be taking place on Wednesday, October 21st, and we'll start at 10 a.m. Mexico time. It'll be a great way for us to connect and explore some new ways to connect and take some ideas and put those ideas into practice. Certainly the disruption that we've all been experiencing has been difficult. But what it's helped me and many others that we've spoken to is to really understand the importance of our connectedness and that we need each other. And that we need each other now more than ever. And when we come together, Molly and you and I talk about this a lot, good things happen. So I'm really excited. We are so fortunate that our alums and friends, partners, our network is a global network. We can draw from this global network to talk about the importance of our connectedness, what we've learned throughout this difficult time, and how we're going to apply some of that learning as we reimagine business and almost everything we do when we come out of it.
Oh, thank you for that description, Tim. That sounds so exciting. And I know we've been really focused on thinking about Mexico. And as you were talking about it in the global sense, I started thinking about food. And I was like, this is, it's another thing that I think goes into the international part and the travel is the social, the business and the food that comes along with all of that. And how when we're all together again, we would, after this conversation, be going out to enjoy some tacos together. But in the meantime, we have this. And so we're using it, we're utilizing it. And I'm so happy that Kelley is putting on this event. I think it's going to be fascinating to see what the people from Mexico have to say, obviously, because I'm here and I live here and that's important, but I'm also really interested in joining into the other events and learning and listening and seeing what else we can all do together. So thank you so much for that. We'll make sure that everybody gets the information. And Ana Lilia, thank you. What a journey you've had. I can't wait to continue to see how your journey goes.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you. It was great being here. And seriously, I guess one last thing, it's really don't let anything interfere your plans. Whatever you have set in your mind, just go for it because life is too short. And I think one thing that this pandemic has taught us is that, a lot of, there's no way you can plan anything. So just go for it. And find the ways to do what your heart tells you and just follow your passion. And if you think you don't have a passion, you'll find it. So I hope this helps encourage more women in Latin America to pursue master's degrees and MBAs. And, we would love to talk to you.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's like have your passion, have your vision, and then one foot in front of the other, right? Like get up and do it and make it happen, because you can make it happen. And if you feel stuck along the way, I don't want to speak for you, Ana Lilia, but I know that I'm open for if anyone wants just to talk about career advice or choice or schooling or whatever.
Yeah, totally. Sure.
Yeah, we're here to do that for sure. Awesome. Thank you both so much.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you, team. Great seeing you.
Oh, great seeing you, Ana Lilia, and you too, Molly and Lucero, and everyone who helped put this together today. Thank you so much, mi nuevo amigos.
Sí. Sí, nos vamos a ver pronto.
Right. Así es.
Así es.
Gracias.
Gracias. Adiós.
Adiós.
Bye.
Bye-bye.